The dream did not come from you. You have been treating it as though it did. As though it was the product of your own wanting, the assembled desire of a person who looked at what was possible and chose, from the available options, the specific vision that the dream contains. As though its origin was internal in the ordinary sense of something generated by the mind that holds it, shaped by the preferences and the experiences and the particular quality of ambition that the person carrying it developed through their own history. This is not where the dream came from. The dream was sent, not in the metaphorical sense of inspiration as a general quality of something arriving from outside the self. In the specific, prior, completely intentional sense of a vision that was prepared before you were ready to carry it and installed in you at the exact moment of your readiness, not when you were ready in your own estimation, but when you were ready in the estimation of the one who prepared the dream and knew the readiness of the carrier before the carrier knew it themselves. The dream arrived in you with a specific quality. You felt it when it arrived. Not as a decision you made or a goal you selected or a direction you chose after weighing the available options. As something that was already formed when it reached you, already coherent, already pointing somewhere specific, already carrying a quality of reality that your other thoughts and plans and desires did not carry. The kind of dream that does not feel like something you invented. That feels like something you discovered. That feels, in the moments when it is most alive in you, less like what you want and more like what you are for. That quality is the signature of the sent dream. The sent dream always carries that quality. Because what was sent was not a desire. It was a directive. Not the directive of a superior issuing an instruction to a subordinate, the directive of a creator installing in what was created the specific vision of the thing the creation was made to build. The way an instrument is made with the specific, designed in capacity to produce the sound it was built to produce, not as a limitation but as a nature. Not as a constraint but as the specific, positive, forward-pointing quality of something that has a sound it was made for and that produces that sound when it is played. The dream is the sound you were made to produce. God approved it. Now I need to speak about the long middle. Every sent and approved dream has a long middle. The beginning of the dream, the moment of the original installation, the clarity in the energy in the specific, undeniable quality of reality that accompanied the dream's first arrival in full force, is not the long middle. The beginning carries the specific, almost overwhelming quality of the installation itself, the quality of something that has just been received and is fully alive in the receiving and that produces in the person receiving it the specific, forward-propelling, down-eliminating energy of fresh contact with something that is completely, undeniably real. The beginning is not the test. The long middle is the test. The long middle is the season between the beginning and the completion, the season that contains all the building. All the decisions made without the beginning's clarity and before the completion's confirmation. All the setbacks that the beginning did not mention. All the moments when the distance between the current state and the completed dream is the largest it has ever felt. All the seasons when the people around you have moved on from the dream's beginning with you and have settled into the assumption that the dream is not going to arrive, that the energy of the beginning was the thing itself rather than the beginning of the thing, and that the thing has therefore already been and gone. The long middle is where most dreams stop. Not because they were not real. Not because the approval was not genuine. Not because the person carrying the dream was not formed for the carrying. Because the long middle requires something that the beginning does not require and that the completion will not require, and that is required only in the specific, extended, often brutal stretch of time between the one and the other. It requires building in the absence of the beginning's clarity and before the completion's confirmation. It requires continuing when the only available fuel is the memory of the beginning and the belief in the completion in the specific, daily, entirely unchosen act of picking up the dream again in the morning after a night in which the morning felt like a long way away. You are somewhere in the long middle. I know this because the approval is real and the dream is real and the completion is coming, and the fact that the completion has not yet arrived means the long middle is where you currently are. and the long middle produces a specific quality of experience that is distinct from both the beginning and the completion, and that deserves to be named because naming it is part of surviving it without losing the thread. The long middle feels like doubt. Not necessarily the doubt about the dream's reality. The dream's installation was thorough enough and the approval was real enough that the doubt rarely reaches the foundation of the dream's existence. The doubt about the timeline. The doubt about whether the pace of the building is sufficient. The doubt about whether the specific decisions made in the absence of the beginning's clarity were the right decisions. The doubt that accumulates when the visible evidence of the dream's progress is insufficient to sustain the forward motion on its own, and the forward motion has to be sustained by something below the visible evidence. The doubt is not the signal that the dream is wrong. The doubt is the signal that you are in the long middle. The long middle is the place where the approval is most needed and feels least present. Because the beginning's energy was the approval announcing itself at full volume in the moment of the installation, was the approval's presence made experientially overwhelming so that the carrier would have the memory of it to draw on through the long middle. But the long middle does not have the volume. The approval is present in the long middle, but it is present in the way that the current of a river is present, not visible at the surface but running consistently, powerfully, directionally underneath it, moving everything toward the sea regardless of what the surface conditions are doing. The current is running through every season of the long middle, through every moment when the surface looks still or even backward, through every doubt and every setback and every morning that felt like a long way away. The approval was running through all of it, not announcing itself, not providing the experiential confirmation that the beginning provided. Running, producing, in the specific, quiet, cumulative way of something that does not need to announce itself because its work is being done regardless of whether the person inside it can feel the work happening, producing the specific, incremental, building toward completion movement that the approved dream always produces when the person carrying it continues to build. The continuation is the evidence of the approval's presence, not the feeling of the approval. The continuation. Every time you continued in the long middle, every morning you picked up the dream again, every decision you made in the absence of the beginning's clarity, every act of building from the memory of what the dream is rather than from the current visible evidence of the dream's progress, that continuation was the approval working through you. You thought you were building alone. You were not building alone. You were the visible end of a building that was happening at multiple levels simultaneously, the visible level of your own effort and decision and daily choice to continue, and the invisible level of the approval maintaining the direction, clearing what needed to be cleared, placing what needed to be placed, working through the circumstances and the people and the specific configuration of the available territory toward the completion that was always the declared destination. The long middle felt like you were doing it alone. The long middle was the full collaboration. The collaboration was not visible because the other party in the collaboration does not build visibly, does not build in the form of obvious signs and immediate confirmations and the kind of experiential presence that would make the collaboration unmistakable. Builds through the specific, quiet, happening in the background quality of a process that is most active when it is least detectable, that works most powerfully in the interior of the circumstances that the dream is navigating rather than on the visible surface of them. You are not alone. You will not be alone. The long middle is not over for everyone reading this. For some of you, the long middle is the current season. The current season is the place of building without the beginning's energy and before the completion's confirmation. The current season is the test of whether the approval is a foundation or a feeling, whether the dream continues when the feeling is absent or stops when the feeling stops. The approval is a foundation. Continue. The continuation is the answer to the test. The continuation is the proof of the foundation. The continuation is the specific thing that moves the dream through the long middle toward the completion that was always on the other side of it. Continue. Not after the fact. Not in the retrospective sense of a plan being reviewed and found acceptable. The approval preceded the installation. The dream was approved before it was given, before it was placed in you, before you had any awareness of carrying it. The approval happened in the same conversation in which the assignment was made, in the prior, pre-creation accounting of what was needed and who would carry it and what the carrier would need to know about where they were going in order to keep moving toward it through every season that would attempt to redirect them. The dream was the knowledge you were given, the knowledge of where you are going. The approval was the confirmation that the where is real. I want to speak about what approval means in the specific sense that this approval carries, because the word approval is used in many contexts and most of them are small scale, and this approval is not small scale, and the difference matters enormously for how you hold what you are carrying. Approval in the ordinary sense is a judgment rendered from a position of evaluation. A superior reviews something a subordinate has done or proposed and determines, based on the criteria available to the evaluating position, whether what has been done or proposed meets the standard. The approval is conditional. It applies to the specific thing reviewed under the specific criteria in the specific moment of the review. It can be revised if the criteria change or if subsequent review reveals something the first review missed, or if the thing being reviewed changes in ways that no longer correspond to what was approved. The approval your dream received is not that kind. It is not conditional. It is not subject to revision based on subsequent information. It is not rendered from a position of evaluation that could discover something it initially missed, because the evaluating position that rendered it has access to all information simultaneously, and therefore there is no subsequent information for it to discover. It is unconditional. It is permanent. It applies not to the current state of the dream as you are currently carrying it, not to the partial, still developing, not yet fully expressed version of the dream that exists in the present moment of your life. It applies to the full form, the completed form, the version of the dream that exists in the mind of the one who designed it and knows what it looks like at its full expression, rather than at the intermediate stages of the development that leads there. The approval was given to the full form, which means the approval covers every intermediate stage of the development, which means the dream in its current incomplete state is not less than approved. It is the approved thing in the process of becoming the full form that was approved. The approval does not require the completion before it is valid. The approval is the declaration that the completion is coming, that the full form will arrive, and that every stage of the development toward it is inside the approval. You are inside the approval right now, in the stage you are in, carrying what you are carrying, building what you are building. It is approved. Let me speak about the specific opposition that approved dreams encounter, because the approval does not produce a smooth path. And if anything, the approval produces a more specifically targeted opposition than the dreams that were not approved, for the same reason that the surveillance we discussed earlier targets the people whose emergence matters, because the things that matter most are the things most worth opposing. The opposition to an approved dream comes from several sources, and understanding the sources clarifies the nature of the opposition and prevents the mistake of treating all sources of opposition as the same thing requiring the same response. The first source is the people who have been carrying versions of the same dream that were not approved. They exist. They are real. They encountered the same general territory that your dream is pointing toward, and they built their own version of the vision, and they have been carrying it with genuine investment and genuine effort in the specific, costly commitment of people who believed in what they were building. Their version of the dream looks similar to yours from the outside. It may look identical from certain angles, and the similarity means that the arrival of your approved version produces, in the people carrying the unapproved version, the specific, painful, completely understandable response of people who see something that looks like what they built and know, in the bone, that it is not the same thing. The quality is different, not in ways that are always visible or articulable, in the specific way that the approved thing always differs from the version that carries genuine effort but not the backing of the approval. The approved thing has a quality of inevitability. a sense of direction and coherence in movement toward its destination that does not depend on the carrier's effort to maintain. The unapproved thing has to be pushed. It has to be kept alive by the energy of the person carrying it. It does not have the self-sustaining quality of something that is moving toward its destination under the power of its own approval. The people carrying the unapproved version feel the difference, and the feeling produces a range of responses. Some of them will respond with the generous, mature, difficult recognition that what they have been building was practice and what you are carrying is the real thing, and that their honest response to the recognition is to direct their effort and their resources in support of the real thing rather than in competition with it. These people are rare and they are precious, and when you encounter them you should hold them. Some of them will respond with the specific, bitter opposition of people whose investment in their version cannot survive the recognition without becoming an attack on yours. These people are not your enemies in any permanent sense. They are people whose grief over the recognition that their version was not the approved version is being expressed through opposition rather than through the mourning it actually is. But dress the grief when it is possible. Do not let the opposition derail the building. The second source of opposition is the people who have a specific investment in the current arrangement that the approved dream will disrupt. Every approved dream disrupts something, not arbitrarily, because the specific vision of what the dream is building toward is a vision of something that does not yet fully exist, which means it is a vision of something that will exist in the place where what currently exists is. Not the place in the literal, physical sense. The place in the sense of position and attention and resource in the specific share of the possible that is currently occupied by what is and that the approved dream is building toward occupying differently. Something that currently occupies that space will need to move. The people invested in what currently occupies that space will oppose the moving. Not because they are wrong to be invested. The investment is real and what they built in the current arrangement deserves its acknowledgement. But the acknowledgement of what they built does not require the prevention of what is coming. The dream does not need to destroy what currently exists. It needs to build what currently does not exist. And the building will inevitably change the arrangement, will redirect some portion of the available attention and resource and possibility toward the new thing and away from the existing thing. The opposition this produces is the opposition of people who correctly understand that the arrival of the approved dream changes their position. Do not take it personally. Understand it as the natural, structural, completely predictable consequence of a dream that is building something new in a space that something existing currently occupies. The third source of opposition is the one I want to speak about most carefully because it is the source that most consistently derails approved dreams from the inside. The opposition of your own unbelief. Not the theatrical, dramatic unbelief of a person who openly doubts what they are doing. The quiet, habitual, so thoroughly installed unbelief of someone who has been carrying the dream long enough that the carrying has become the identity rather than the approach to the destination. Who has been the person who carries this dream for so long that the carrying has started to feel like the full purpose rather than the means of arriving at the purpose. This specific form of unbelief looks like commitment. It walks like dedication. It talks like passion. From the outside it is indistinguishable from the full, activated, fully believing version of a person who is carrying an approved dream toward its completion. But from the inside it carries the specific, low-grade, chronic quality of someone who has made peace with the carrying as a permanent state rather than a transitional one. Who has stopped expecting to arrive. Who has oriented their life around the management of the dream rather than the fulfillment of it. This is the opposition that the approval is specifically designed to address. The approval says, the dream is real and the destination is real and the arrival is not the indefinitely postponed future of a person who is building something that may or may not arrive, but the declared, confirmed, completely non-contingent future of a person who is given the dream by the one who approved its completion before the carrier had the capacity to reach it. The approval is the answer to the unbelief. Not as a feeling of increased confidence. As a fact. The dream is approved. The completion is approved. The arrival is approved. These are not things that depend on your feeling of confidence about them to be true. They are simply true in the specific, non-contingent. Nothing can make them untrue sense of something that was declared by the one whose declarations do not become less true when the carrier's confidence in them wavers. The approval holds when the confidence does not. Lean on the approval, not on your own ability to maintain the confidence. The confidence will fluctuate. It will be high in the seasons when the evidence of the dream's progress is visible, and it will be low in the seasons when the evidence is not visible and the distance between the current state and the completed dream feels the largest. The confidence is not a reliable foundation for the continued building. The approval is the foundation. Build on the approval regardless of the confidence. Now I want to speak about what the dream looks like in its complete form, the form that was approved, because the person carrying the dream in its current incomplete state needs to understand what they are building toward with enough clarity to make the decisions the building requires. The complete form of the dream is not a fixed, static, fully detailed picture that can be examined like a blueprint with every element specified in advance. It is something more like a direction and a destination and a specific quality of what exists when the destination is reached, a quality that the person carrying the dream can feel in the moments when the dream is most alive in them, in the specific, bodily, completely non-theoretical recognition of rightness that the sent dream always carries in its most honest moments. The rightness is the picture, not the details of it, the quality of it. The specific way the world will be different when what the dream is building exists in it. The specific way the people who need what the dream is building will experience the existence of it. The specific quality of the builder's own interior life when the building is complete in the thing that was built is operating in the world it was built for. This quality, this specific, non-detailed, felt in the body understanding of what the completion will produce, is more reliable than any detailed blueprint as a navigation instrument. Because blueprints are built at the beginning of the building process with the information available at the beginning, and the building process always produces information that the beginning could not have had. The blueprint becomes outdated. The navigation instrument of the felt quality of the destination does not become outdated because it is not a plan for how to get there. It is a compass that points there. You have this compass. You have always had it. It is operational in the moments when you are most fully present in the dream rather than managing the distance between the current state and the completed one. In the moments when you stop calculating what it will take and simply inhabit what it will be. In the moments when the dream is not a project you are working on but a reality you are already inhabiting in the dimension where approved things exist before they exist in the visible world. The approved things always exist in that dimension first. The visible existence is the delivery of what the dimension has already confirmed. Use the compass. Let it orient every decision the building requires. When a decision aligns with where the compass is pointing, move in that direction regardless of whether the evidence currently available supports the move. The compass operates on information the current evidence does not include. It operates on the approval, on the knowledge of the destination that was given with the dream. When the compass says this is the direction, the compass is using information that the current evidence cannot confirm but that the approval has already confirmed. Trust the compass. It was given with the dream. It was approved with the dream. It points at the destination that was approved. Let me now speak about the people who need the dream to arrive. Because dreams are not given to individuals as personal gifts without purpose beyond the individual's fulfillment. Dreams given at the level of the one that was given to you, dreams that carry the quality of sent and approved rather than merely desired, are given for the specific people whose lives the dream is going to change when it arrives in its complete form. Those people exist right now. In the specific, present tense, actual live sense of people who are living their days in the absence of what the dream is going to provide when it arrives. Not suffering dramatically, necessarily, but living in the specific quality of incompleteness that exists in lives that are missing something whose existence they cannot imagine because it does not yet exist, who experience a want they cannot name because the thing they want has no name yet in the world that does not yet contain it. The dream you are carrying is the name for the nameless want. When the dream arrives in its full form, these people will encounter something they have been wanting without knowing they were wanting it. Will experience the specific, striking, deeply disproportionate quality of recognition that comes from finally seeing the thing that was always supposed to be there and was not. Will feel, in the encounter with what was built, the specific quality of a gap being closed, a gap that was always present, always producing a subtle but real incompleteness in the quality of their daily life, but that could not be named because the thing that closes it had not yet arrived. You are building the thing that closes the gap. Every day you build advances the arrival. Every day you do not build delays it. This is not guilt. This is the practical, completely direct, fully honest account of what is at stake in the difference between building at full speed and building at reduced speed. The people who need what you are building do not know they are waiting. They experience the waiting as the ordinary texture of their lives, as the unexamined quality of a life that has not yet encountered the thing that will change it. They are not calling out to you. They are not sending messages of urgency. They are simply living in the absence of what you are building, as all people live in the absence of what does not yet exist, without any particular awareness that the absence is the specific gap that a specific person is approved to close. You know. You carry the approval. You know the gap. You know what closes it. Build. Let me speak about the timing of the approval's visible confirmation. Because the approval preceded the visible confirmation, and the period between the approval and the visible confirmation is the period in which the building happens. The period in which the dream is being built by someone who knows the approval is real but who does not yet have the visible evidence of the approval's completion that the world around them can confirm. The period that is most vulnerable to the opposition of the unbelief. The period that most requires the specific, moment-to-moment, decision-by-decision choice to continue building based on the approval rather than waiting for the visible evidence to justify the continued building. The visible evidence follows the building. It does not precede it. This is the specific, non-negotiable reality of every approved dream in every era and every life I have ever watched. The visible evidence of the dream's reality arrives after the building has demonstrated the specific quality of commitment that the building of something approved requires, not the confidence that comes from visible evidence, but the faithfulness that continues in the absence of it. The visible evidence is the reward of the faithfulness, not the precondition of it. You cannot earn the visible evidence by waiting for it before you continue. You can only receive it by continuing without it until the building reaches the specific phase of its completion that the visible evidence corresponds to. The building is the path to the confirmation. The confirmation is not the path to the building. Build now, in the current season, with the current level of visible evidence, with the current distance between the dream and its completion, with the current quality of the opposition and the current level of the unbelief in the current configuration of a world that does not yet contain what the dream is building toward. In all of this and through all of this and past all of this, build. There is a specific quality that the building from approval produces that I want to name because it is the quality that distinguishes the building of an approved dream from every other form of building, and it is the quality that will be visible to the people who encounter the work you are producing from inside the approval. The quality is rest. Not the rest of someone who is not working. The rest of someone who is working from a place of complete, non-anxious, deeply grounded orientation toward a destination they know is real. The rest of someone who is not carrying the weight of uncertainty about whether the building will arrive at the destination. Who is not spending energy on the management of the doubt about whether the direction is right or the dream is real or the approval was genuine. Who has set down that weight completely, sent it down at the feet of the one who gave the dream and confirmed the approval, and who is therefore able to bring the full, undivided, completely unencumbered energy of their total capacity to the building. This rest is productive at a level that the anxious building never reaches, because the anxious building is always splitting its energy between the building and the management of the anxiety about the building, between the forward motion and the backward checking, between the next move and the recalculation of whether the previous moves were right. The energy that is going to the anxiety management is not available for the building. The anxious builder builds at a fraction of their capacity. The rested builder builds at full capacity. And there is something the rested building produces in what is built that the anxious building cannot produce regardless of the technical quality of the work. The rested building produces work that carries the specific quality of the rest. That carries the quality of something made by someone who is not fighting the making, who is not divided against themselves in the making, who brought the full, undivided, completely present quality of a person who is doing what they were built to do in the direction the approval confirmed. The people who encounter work made from that place feel it. They cannot always name it. They will call it excellence or authenticity or the ineffable quality of something that is more than its technical components. What they are feeling is the rest, the undivided, full capacity, approved and known quality of a person who built something from the place of knowing they were supposed to build it. Build from that place. You were approved. The dream was confirmed. The destination is real. Set down the anxiety. Build at full capacity. From the rest of someone who knows. This is what God approved your dream for. Not the anxious, fractional, always checking building of someone who is not sure the approval is real. The full, rested, completely committed building of someone who received the approval and believed it and built from it with everything they have. The dream is approved. The builder is approved. The building is approved. Go. Build what was approved. At the scale it was approved for. In the direction it was approved toward. For the people it was approved to reach. From the rest that the approval produces in the person who fully receives it. The approval is not tentative. It is not conditional. It is not waiting for your performance to confirm it. It has always been exactly what it is. Complete. Absolute. Yours. Build.